Hi everyone, this is Rick Phillips with Ram Mounts, and today we're going to be talking about the Ram Tough Track series. We're going to be going over some key features on each of our track systems, and also today we're going to be walking through the installation process on how to install a Ram Tough Track onto your kayak. So first and foremost, an important couple of features that we integrate into all of our track systems is the fact that we have no sharp edges on our tracks. So these are all rounded corners. Makes it nice and convenient for the user, so you don't have to worry about snagging your clothing or your arms on any sharp edges. And then the other important feature is the fact that these are all considered top-loading track systems. And what we mean by that is most aftermarket tracks will have an entry point like this where it could be a little difficult to guide a T-bolt onto the track. You have to kind of fuss with it a little bit. With top-loading components, such as these, it's way easier to just insert the T-bolt and slide it with ease. And so we integrate that into our two main styles of tough track systems. So the big question when you're installing a track on your kayak is which style is best for you? What type of tough track do you want to be using? So going over some unique features with each style, what I'm holding right here is a top-loading composite tough track. So this is a very lightweight but also very durable high-strength composite, low-profile track. As you can see, the mounting holes are along the outside of the center channel, and it's also very low profile and installs with number 10 screws and nuts. So as you can see with all these holes, you'll end up with reinforcement of durable hardware all throughout the track. So this becomes an incredibly strong system when you do have it mounted, and so you can have any kind of gear that's mounted to your track. The only drawback with this style is that it is a little bit wider since the hardware is on the outside of the track, and it's also very flat on the bottom here. So you do need a very specific set of flat surface area in order to install this properly. Today we're going to install a track on a Delta Kayak 12.10. As you can see, this is a very narrow kayak. There's a lot of curvature on the surface, and so this kayak makes a lot more sense to install with the modular aluminum tough track. Maybe hard to see in the camera here, but there is a little bit of curvature underneath the track, so this does conform a little bit better to curved surfaces like this one here. The modular aluminum, it's available in two different colors. We have the matte chrome finish, and then there's also a black version of each of these lengths, and these are all available in different lengths, short and long. With the modular aluminum specifically, you have modular components that join together. So that end piece, it's a top-loading end piece, but with these modular components, you can also connect multiple tracks together. As you can see, we have a center point here, so you can take any two lengths of tough tracks and connect them together. And this creates another insertion point, so if you want multiple access points to your track, this lets you do that. And you can also create any custom length track for your system, depending on what you need exactly. And then the other joint that we have is a 90-degree coupler, so you can have one track come up, go 90 degrees, and then come off to another track. So with this, you can really get creative in making any kind of a custom track system that you may need. And just like the others, this creates another insertion point, so you can insert your T-bolt system through that component there. Another great feature with the modular aluminum tough track is if you look really carefully here, you'll see there's actually a secondary channel that's built into the track. And what this does is it actually offsets the mounting hardware. So as you can see, the holes are in the center of the track system. Many tracks are like this, but the downside with other tracks out there is that when you route your T-bolt through the track, the T-bolt ends up interfering with your mounting hardware. You have to kind of work your way around every single screw head. So what we've done with this track is that we've offset that screw head. And so you don't have to worry about sliding the T-bolt along the track. It's nice, smooth placement of your mount. So it's very easy to use and navigate your mounting components. One last style of track I'd like to introduce before our installation is what's called the Ram hand track. So this one is an end-loading track, as you can see here, but it does still have smooth corners, and with guiding points, it does make it very easy to route your mount through the track system. But with the hand track, as you can see, it offsets the track upward, so these can really act as grab handles for where you have this mounted. The bottom of these end pieces have a little bit of curvature to it, so this is great for round, curved surfaces. And these are available in various lengths as well. Similar to the modular aluminum system, these have interchangeable end pieces, and with also center connection points, you can really have any custom length of hand tracks as well. So with this installation, we're going to be mounting 2 different tracks to the kayak with 2 different holders that are going to be supporting a paddle. So it's very important that both of the tracks we're installing are going to line up properly to support both of the paddle clip holders. Paddle clip holder is called the Ram roller ball that you can see here, that just wedges right into the roller like that. So we want 2 of these on 2 independent tracks. So for both of the mounting points here, we're going to be using a very short length of the modular aluminum track. We're just going to have the one top loading point with just a spot here that bottoms out, so that keeps it nice, low length, low profile. So the very first thing you'll want to do is identify the exact points. So we're going to have this line up so it aligns with both connection points of the roller. So we're going to have one of these tracks mounted right here, and then we're going to have another one back here. So now we want to make sure we really position the track in the exact spot where we want on the kayak. We want to make sure that there is no gap underneath the track, so we don't want anything uneven. So we want to make sure that the curvature underneath the track is conforming perfectly to the curvature of the kayak so that there's no space. So for this particular install, we're mounting 2 different independent tracks that are going to be supporting the paddle with 2 different paddle holders. So because of that, it's very important that both of the tracks we're installing will properly line up with each other. So what we've done here is we've actually attached the track with paddle holder to each end of the paddle. And now we're going to line up the 2 tracks with the paddle onto the kayak surface. We've positioned this in a way where we know that there's no gap between the bottom of the track and the kayak surface, so we know it's nice and flush. And then on each side, we've marked masking tape on both sides of the track to really guide the exact position and placement. So we have that lined up properly. And then coming over here, we have masking tape that are guiding the 2 sides of this track as well. So now the next 2 big factors to consider before you start your installing here is, in this particular track, we only have 1 top loading insertion point. So when this is positioned, you want to know what side do you want to be able to access from. You could have it from here or from here. This is a little bit closer to the kayak rider, so we're going to have the top loading point closer to the rider in this way. And then the other thing to consider is that when we're mounting this, we really want to make sure that we can access the bottom side of the kayak here. We don't want to just blind mount into here, because we're going to be reinforcing this with nuts and washers. So we have the back storage compartment opened up, and we've already verified that we can align ourselves with the bottom of the track here. So we know that we're in a safe position to access the bottom for connecting nuts and washers. So we're going to position the track exactly where we want, just like that. And while holding that exactly in place, we're going to take a Sharpie and we're just going to mark the 3. We have only 3 holes in this install. Just put a mark where the 3 spots will be here. So now we've marked our 3 holes for mounting. Keep in mind we're installing with number 8 screws and nuts, so you want to make sure you use an appropriate sized drill bit for routing through number 8 hardware. So I personally like to start off with pilot holes using a really narrow drill bit just to get the hole started. So now I'm moving up to a 3/16 drill bit for the proper size hole for number 8 hardware. Now we can take our tape off, so we're left with our 3 main mounting holes now. Now when it comes to the mounting hardware, the tracks do not come with hardware because it really does depend on the type of surface that you're mounting into. For a kayak like this, we do strongly recommend being able to access the bottom side, just as we're doing here. And then you would connect using machine screws, fender washers, and we're using nylock nuts here to keep the screw threads from coming loose. So this is the exact anatomy of how the hardware should look installed underneath the track surface. Again, you do need to use number 8 screws to route through this size hole. So now just starting off by hand, I'm going to route the screw in here. And while holding that in place, I'm going to connect the fender washer to the inside. And then I'm going to thread the nut by hand. So now that's just loosely connected. Another screw here, followed by the fender washer, and then the last hole. Screw, fender washer, and nut. So if we could bring the camera on the inside here to get a good look, you can see the 3 nuts and fender washers. So the fender washer goes up against the kayak surface on the inside with the nuts currently just tightened down by hand, but we'll be tightening that down with an adjustable wrench. You want to make sure you can access with a wrench, and then a screwdriver on the outside. Now we simply tighten everything down using an adjustable wrench or socket wrench on the inside, gripping onto the nut, and I prefer to use non-powered tools in a step like this to make sure I'm not over tightening and not damaging the materials. So now our first tough track is fully installed and ready to go. And so now we're going to move over to the other side where we are going to install our second track following the exact same steps. Keep in mind here, we have the kayak rider that's going to be inside here, so their legs are going to be close to the mounting hardware. So you want to be really careful about the proper length screws that you select during this process. So now we have a complete installation of the modular aluminum ram tough track, both on the front as well as on the back here. So now with these 2 different track mounting points, we can connect the ram rollerball paddle holder. So by simply taking the T-nut on the ram rollerball, you drop it into the top loading slot, slide into the track and twist clockwise to tighten. And then same with the other side. T-nut into the top loading slot, slide into the track, clockwise to tighten. And now when you're out on the water, you're out paddling and you want to secure your paddle off to the side, but you still want to keep it nice and secure, you simply drop it into the rollerball, and it'll be nice and steady, nice and parallel with the kayak, and so it's out of your way but still secure. The ram rollerball does offer tethering points on each component, so for additional safety to prevent the paddle from dropping into the water, you can have this tethered to your paddle as well. So now this ram tough track installation was specifically intended for supporting the ram rollerball paddle holder, but I'd like to talk a little bit about other track mounting options that you can put on your kayak as well. So the great thing about track mounting on your kayak in general is so that you have a nice clean finished look on your kayak when you're not using it and when it's stowed away, but you now have a nice convenient platform for securing any device or accessory that you want on your kayak. So as you can see here, anyone familiar with ram ball and socket mounting components, we have the ram track ball, which simply drops into the track and you twist to tighten. And now you have a nice ram ball and socket mounting system. You can connect any double socket arm. We have medium, short, and long lengths to choose from. So you can select whatever arm that you want, and then you connect your device holder. So here we're looking at the Ram X-Grip universal phone holder that will support any phone with or without a case or sleeve. We have other phone holder designs to choose from as well, such as the Quick Grip and Form Fit holders. And as you can see here, you can now mount your phone. You no longer need your phone tucked away inside the kayak or in your pocket while you're on the water. Another great option is for action cameras, such as the GoPro here. And then again, with our ball and socket technology, you can put your GoPro at the exact position that you want. You can get some side scenery, again, selfie mode, get your friends out on the water, and you get the perfect shot using the Ram mounts supporting your GoPro. And then one last device I'll show here, a non-ball and socket system, is a track mounting cup holder, low profile cup holder, where it's simply a 12 to 32 ounce receiver with the T-bolt on the bottom. So you drop the T-bolt into the top loading section and then you twist the entire cup holder here. Twist clockwise to tighten. Our kayak is a little tilted at the moment, but you can see when it's set up and upright, you have a nice reliable receiver so you can take your beverage out on the water as well. And if you go to rammount.com and check out all the other track mounting systems, you can build your own custom system. We have other kits to choose from. If you're not ready for track mounting quite yet and maybe have another basic kayak like this, standardized kayaks, you can also use the Ram Tough Claw. This would not be ideal for securing a paddle, but you can still put your handheld devices just on the front lip here. No tools required for this, just simply tighten down on the knob, and now you have another secure platform for connecting your phone, camera, or other devices. Again, rammount.com, you can see all the other components to choose from. You can mount your fish finder, fishing rod holders for all the anglers out there. Any other device that you might want while out on the water, Ram Mounts will have you covered.